Good morning, kids and kiddywinkles. Welcome to your Friday's English lesson. It's been a fantastic week. The weather has been absolutely amazing, and this is the perfect end to a glorious week. It's the big one. It's the end of the project. Ironic that it's big, actually. It's the big one because we're going to make a really small book. That's the whole idea of today. So what you need to is a piece of paper. You need a ruler. You need a pair of scissors. You need a pen. What else? You need a top hat, piece of ribbon, and a cuddly toy. You could always wear the ribbon. Put the ribbon on now, I look cool. And you can always do a magic trick with the cuddly toy and the top hat. So I'm going to make the cuddly toy disappear by putting the top hat on top of it. Say the magic words, Mr. Barker is amazing, and boom, there's no magic toy there. Magic toy? It is a magic toy, there's no cuddly toy there anymore. Anyway, I digress. So what you need to do with this piece of paper to make this little tiny book is you need to do what you did yesterday. So that's fold it in half, and then fold it in half again. So now it should be in quarters, and then fold it in half again. And if I half a quarter, I will then end up with 8 pieces. So I then end up with this piece of paper, very similar to what we did yesterday. And all you're going to do then is cut off a strip from your piece of paper there. Now one strip is going to make 4 double-sided pages, because what you're going to do then, you're going to fold it back in half, like that, and then fold it in half again. There we go. So then you end up with this, and then you're going to cut along these lines, and then each one of these pieces of paper now is going to be a double page spread. So if I put them all together, make a bit of a deck of cards like that, you can then fold them all in half, and you've now got your little book. Now, the way I kept mine together, where's my little book gone? Oh, there it is. The way I've kept mine together, because obviously they can all just fall apart, so you need to keep them all together. I just use one of Sarah's hairpins on there. So if your mum or sister or you have got any hairpins that you want to use, just slot that down the middle, and then that creates a nice book. Or if you haven't got any hairpins, a bobble would do. You can always put a bobble around it, or a piece of string, just tie a piece of string around it, and you'll keep all your pages together. Okay, now I said yesterday about adding more pages, so what you could do is just cut off another strip from here, fold it all together, and just wrap them round again and make a thicker book if you wanted to. If you're running out of space, that's absolutely fine. So anyway, you've now made your book. I'll put that one to the side. You've now made your book. So what you need to do is you need to transfer your plan. Now I've only done parts of my plan. You've obviously done a whole plan. You're going to transfer parts of your plan, or no you're not. You're going to transfer all of your plan into your book. Now remember, you got your front cover down here, so that's going to go on the front bit here, and then the back cover, the blurb, you can then write on the back. I wouldn't use felt tips for this if you're going to colour in, because it will more than likely come through, and when you're trying to write on the back, you won't be able to see it very well, and also the felt tips make the paper quite wet. So if you then start trying to write on the back, you could easily tear the piece of paper. So I would probably use either coloured paper, stick coloured paper down on it as well if you've got coloured paper, or I've got a piece of blue tack stuck to me there, or pencil crayons. They're probably the best things to use. Okay, so you've done your front cover, you've done your blurb. It's then a case of transferring what you've done inside your little book. Now I've numbered mine 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 all the way to 14, page 14 at the bottom here. I've just done number 5. Now the reason I've done number 5 here is because that's the part of the story, if you remember yesterday. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that would come here. If you remember yesterday, I said about part of my story mountain was how the policeman didn't believe him and he wanted evidence. So I've just written this bit out here. Now you probably won't be able to read that from there. Oh, magic of technology. Yes. What I've done is a new speaker, new line. I just wanted you to show you this to remind you of a new speaker, new line. Okay, so I've got a bit of speech here. So I've got the invisible man turned back to being visible again. Speech marks. I promise you, detective, Vinny is going to blow up the bank. I've got my punctuation there, then my speech marks again, remember. Now, if I wanted to say, said the Invisible Man at the end here, I would put a comma, and then I'll put said the Invisible Man. I'm okay to put an exclamation mark as well, because that's saying that I want him to shout it. A question mark if he's asking a question. He's not asking a question this time, so I've not used one. But if he is asking a question, you could put question mark, speech marks, and then said the Invisible Man. Don't put a full stop, because that means it's the end of the whole sentence. Okay, what you want to show is if you put said the Invisible Man here, the full stop would go at the end of said the Invisible Man, because that's the end of the whole sentence. Remember that. Then I've got new speaker, new line. So this time it's not the Invisible Man speaking. You forget that real policemen rely on something called evidence, Detective Chalmers bellowed back. So again, I've used an exclamation mark there. Those two exclamation marks are telling the reader they're shouting at each other. They're having a bit of an argument at this point. Okay, that's why I've done that. I personally then would have moved on to here and carried on writing. I probably would have put a picture every 3 or 4 pages, but some of you might have done pictures each time. That's absolutely fine. So I would then copy that down into my book here. Can you see that? There. So I'll go and it'll be new speaker, new line. Now remember, I've got quite a lot of stuff that I want to write there in such a tiny space. So I've now got to make sure that my writing is small enough to fit everything in, but big enough that people can actually read it. So that's where the challenge comes in. Okay. I then wanted to show you this bit here. Now I'm going to keep zoomed in so you can still read it. And I want you to have a little bit of a think about what I've created by doing this. So this is page 10. Okay. The bomb was the bomb was in place, full stop, set, full stop, with the timer ticking down, full stop. What have I done there, those 3 sentences? I've gone on a new line every time, so it's almost like a new paragraph, and one word there I've used as a sentence, set. So why have I done that, do you think? Well, the reason behind it was to try and slow that reader down. This is now, I'm taking my time, I'm trying to build that what was that word I need? Tension. There you go. I'm trying to build that tension at this point in the story just by putting small sentences one at a time. Then I've got the Invisible Man was doing what he did best, staying out of sight. So I probably might have said up in the page beforehand up here that he turned invisible or something. Okay, I'm making the reader guess. I'm not just telling them everything. Then what I've done is something a bit weird. I've just, for one page, just used one word, silence. Now think, what does that create inside my story? Just one page saying silence. That would be, if I had my book here, that would be on this page here, just say silence in the middle. That's what I'd want it to look like. Well, that literally would make the reader say that one word, and that is it, because I want there to be silence. Okay, I don't want them reading any more words, silence, and then everybody blah, 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 blah. I don't want that. I just want silence. And it creates that silence by doing that. Again, it slows the reader right down. It makes them guess. It creates that tension. I can then turn the page, and then page 12 might say something like, people went about their everyday lives, didn't realise the danger they could be in, and write that there as well. Remember, I've got until this part here. So yesterday, I've not done what I've said, but yesterday I remember start with the end in mind. So I would have probably filled this bit out there, how the story might end here. I know some of you might add more pages, but this is where my story might end. So here it would be about how maybe Detective Chalmers finds a piece of paper with an address and a name on it, with the keyword evidence underneath. And that links back to my story all the way back here. And I'll just leave it at that, cliffhanger, okay? I don't have to resolve my story. Maybe I want to do 2 books. Maybe this is The Invisible Man Volume 1, and this is The Invisible Man Volume 2, and then back to back in the library, and I need both books, a bit like Harry Potter, okay? So, over to you guys. I'll zoom back out so you don't hurt your eyes. Over to you guys. Remember, you're doing your own stories, either the Captain Nemo one or that ogre in the forest with the flowers. Good luck with it all. I think you'll do absolutely amazing. Have fun with it. I'm going to put a couple of links as well to these small books, a bit of history around where the tiny books came from. And there's also a challenge to see whether or not you can make an even smaller book on there as well. Okay, can't wait to see your pictures of them. Have good fun with them. Have a good laugh. It is good to make these sorts of things, and I'll see you next week.